I'm welcoming all the participants and let's start with the official proceedings. On behalf of Indian Institute of Tourism and Travel Management family, I am Dr. Jeet Dogra, welcoming all the participants to attend virtually this lecture 4 under International Web Lecture Series. First of all, a very warm welcome to today's chief guest, Shri Raghavendra Singh Ji, IAS, Additional District Magistrate, Balaghat, Madhya Pradesh, India. Sir, we are honored to have you over this virtual platform where the participation is from across the globe, and we are looking forward to listen your experiences and the steps taken to promote tourism in your district. I'm also welcoming our today's expert, Ms. Gül Erkol Bayram from Sinop University, Turkey, who's also the head of tour guiding department in Turkey and having a vast experience of more than 2 decades, specifically in tour guiding prospects. I came to know that she herself also indulged in tour guiding in Turkey along with her regular teaching commitments. So today, we are so honored that our chief guest as well as our international experts, so they are having the expertise in their own areas. Now, I'm inviting our today's chief guest, Shri Raghavendra Singh Ji, IAS. And before inviting, I'm introducing also to all the participants. Presently, Shri Raghavendra Singh Ji is an additional district magistrate, Balaghat, Madhya Pradesh, India. He is 2013 batch IAS officer and he's MA and MPhil from Jawaharlal Nehru University, New Delhi in political studies. He served in Bhagalpur, Gaya, Madhubani and Buxar till February 2020 in various capacities. He is the native of Gorakhpur, Uttar Pradesh. Now I'm inviting Shri Raghavendra Singh Ji, today's chief guest, to please say a few words of wisdoms so that we'll start with the proceeding. Over to you, sir.
Thank you for a very warm welcome and very good introduction. Good afternoon, everyone. And I would like to thank the IITTM family for giving me this opportunity. I am from JNU and in JNU we have a language course for BA, Bachelor of Arts. Language course, and we have a lot of students after graduating.
Sorry to interrupt, your voice is not audible, so can you speak louder a little bit?
Okay.
Thank you. Over to you.
Is it okay right now? Can you hear me? So, yes. So, lot of students were there who used to act as tour guide after graduating from JNU. Of course, to the their clients were from foreign countries like Italy, China, and Japan. Lot of students used to take up this opportunity. Now, in an administrative capacity, after so many years, I graduated in 2012 from there. So, after nearly 8 years, what I have observed is few things which I would like to bring to your notice. Balaghat is a primarily forest district. It's also a primarily tribal district, and we have the luck, we have the pleasure to host people who are coming for tiger safari. We have Kanha National Park, which is a tiger reserve. We share Kanha Tiger Reserve with Mandla district, which is our nearby district. So, what we have observed after COVID scenario, when all the tiger reserves, all the national parks were closed, and there was a crisis of livelihood for the tour guides, which were working here in this district or across the Madhya Pradesh. So, what was the first problem? How we had to deal with after we opened up our national parks? So, first was we made sure that our tour guides were properly trained. They were briefed about what is new social reality, what is social distancing and how it is going to affect us. So this has been a really changing experience, life-changing experience for everyone, for every profession on this earth. This has been a really changing experience for us as a bureaucrat, for police officers, and that also applies to the tour guides. So what was the changes we adopted here? Earlier, we used to take people for a tiger safari in a big gypsy, which used to accommodate 7 to 8 people. But when we opened for the first time after this lockdown was lifted, so we had to plan as to how many people we can take together. So we started with 3 to 4 people taking with us. This is the first thing we have to realize, that we can't afford to take so many people now to whatever activity we are taking them to. This is the first thing we started changing with this. Since there is a scheduled closure for the national parks, which was on 30th June. So our park was closed on 30th June, but before that, this was the protocol that was adopted. So we have to understand how to cater to smaller groups of tourists, and how to go around with them so that they are assured of their safety. They are freely engaged with us. They are fully sure that they are going to a place where they won't contract the COVID symptom. For that, we have to maintain our protocol. So there was a big ditch that was dug up at the entrance of our national parks, and all the vehicles were used to pass through that ditch. That ditch was filled with sanitizer and alcohol-based sanitizer, so that all the vehicles that used to go inside the national parks, they used to disinfect themselves, and that prevented the contraction of the disease to our wildlife. This was the first thing. Secondly, our tour guides were using masks. They were keeping sanitizer with them. They were also maintaining social distancing. Apart from this, one more important thing that I would like to bring to your notice is regular meeting with authorities. The local district administration, local forest administration, you have to meet in whatever capacity you are there. Maybe you have a union there, the tour guides have a union there. So they meet and they intimate us as to what are the requirements of tourists. Maybe they are not very comfortable right now coming to us. Maybe they have some problem of something they are not able to express to us directly. So tour guides have to act as a channel between the people who are acting as a tour guide and administration. They have to act as a channel so that those tourists who are coming to us, they are fully confident that they are not going to contract this disease there in this country, and they are fully safe and sound, and they will return to their homeland fully safe and sound. So these are the few things that I wanted to notice. Another last thing that I would like to bring is tour guides also maintain very cordial relationship with their guests. So in the process, they develop personal relationship with them. I want to just bring this thing, that they have to act as an advisor also to especially to the children and also to the senior citizen when they are coming for a visit. And we have to judge the situation. If there is some locality which has very high population concentration, there are chances that they may contract this disease. So we need to make sure that we don't take them to that place. We need to advise them. We need to counsel them. I think this will help for sure. That was all from my side. I think I would like to take any questions if anyone has. Thanks from my side. And again, I would be thanking IITTM family for inviting me for this opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, sir, for availing us and for availing to all the participants from national as well as international platforms to just give that confirmation that Madhya Pradesh tourism sites are as safe and already cater to the COVID-19 challenges. I hope this message will give the positive vibes and motivate the tourists across the globe to again visit and United Nations World Tourism Organization's hashtag restart tourism. So that will implement. Thank you so much, sir, for your words of wisdoms and for your words that really motivate to the national as well as international tourists and as well as the students, that a lot of students are listening to us. Just for the information for all the participants, we are already crossed 1800 registrations for this lecture. So till now the figure is 1803. So this is the figure. So across the globe people are there, they already registered for these lectures, and these lectures are also available at our official IITTM YouTube channel. Link we will share very soon with our chat box. Now with these words, I'm introducing today's international expert, Dr. Gül from Sinop University, Turkey. And before that, I'm also welcoming Shri Shashi Ranjan ji, IS 2013 Deputy Commissioner, Gumla, Jharkhand. Welcome, sir, over there. And IITTM, so blessed to have you there at this platform. And so we will very soon, we'll also invite and we'll also listen your point of views regarding the lectures and in the coming lectures over there. Thank you. Now I'm introducing Dr. Gül from Sinop University, Turkey, because not take a much time, so we'll have to start her lecture. In 2009, after completing her undergraduate education in Balkisi University, Faculty of Tourism, Tourist Guidance Department, Master's degree in 2012, she completed her PhD in Tourism Management at Sakarya University in 2016. In 2010, she started to work as a professional tourist guide under the Ministry of Culture and Tourism. Now, she is also licensed tour guide in Turkey. Between 2012 to 2016, she worked as a lecturer in Harran University, Vocational School of Social Sciences, Hotel, Restaurant and Catering Department, Turkey. In 2016, she worked as a faculty member and head of the Department of Tourism Guidance at the School of Tourism and Hotel Management at Sinop University. And she has got promoted as an associate professor in 2020. IITTM family and all the participants also congratulate to Dr. Gül, and now she is associate professor. She's still working in the same position. She has published many books and conferences, papers, articles presented in Turkey and abroad. Her research interests are tourism planning and policy, tourism guidance, organizational behavior. So this is the introduction of Dr. Gül. And as far as the situation in India is concerned, as tour guiding is an important sector in tourism, or we can say that tour guides are the heart and soul of tourism. And without their participation, tourism as well as tourists won't get that memorable experience and factual information about any tourism destination. In India, too, under the able leadership of Honorable Tourism Minister, Government of India, Shri Prahlad Singh Patel ji, beyond providing training and licensing to regional tour guides in the past, now to strengthen our local tour guiding services, IITFC program is undergoing, where the Tourism Ministry and Director IITTM along with all the IITTM family members are working tirelessly and aims to provide an exuberant experience to the tourist. And I'm sure today's lecture will accumulate Indian tour guiding services vis-a-vis with the international standards, especially during this COVID-19 phase. I just want to inform to all the participants that our Director IITTM, Professor Alok Sharma, because of his busy schedule and the other commitments, today is not with us, but his blessings and his motivation is always with us. So we are really missing you, sir. But with these words, again welcoming our chief guest, international expert, and all the tourism stakeholders over this e-platform, and keep motivating us by your active participation. Now I'm inviting Dr. Gül to please start her lecture. Over to Dr. Gül. Thank you, ma'am.
Thanks, Dr. Dobra, and all participants. I am special thanks to all IITM members and Professor Alok Sharma and Dr. Dobra. My topics related with tour guiding post-COVID-19. And if you have a permission, I want to share my presentation. Yes, Firstly, I want to have a look at my topics. I started with the introduction and then COVID-19 effects on travel, tourism, and tour guides, and the current situation and perception of tour guides, and then how should precautions and plan be, and what can we do after COVID-19, and what is the roadmap for the future of the Indian tourism. Firstly, in the book entitled Future Shock by Alvin Toffler, he states for the future shock term as certain psychological state of individuals and the entire societies. This means too much change in short period of time. That's true maybe because all tourism and travel industry is in future shock. Not long ago, and even in some countries, country borders are sealed, cities are at standstill, flights are grounded, cruise ships are docked at harbors, trains are stationed, and buses are not playing, and also hotels and restaurants are shut down. Social distancing has become the new mantra. Masks and gloves are the new safety tools, and no one is even thinking of a holiday. The majority of population across the world is seriously affected by COVID-19 and people are under lockdown situation. Business activities are suspended in most of the countries in order to stop and minimize the contamination. Air transport services are suspended unprecedentedly. As of April 2020, 96% of the worldwide touristic places introduced travel restrictions due to the coronavirus. COVID-19 is more contagious than any other disease occurred before. The World Tourism Organization estimates that the COVID-19 pandemic has caused a 22% fall in international tourist arrivals during the January, February, March of 2020. There are millions of livelihoods are at risk and threatens to roll back progress made in advancing the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. The World Travel and Tourism Council predicts potential jobs impact of COVID-19 to the global travel and tourism sector. Up to 50 million jobs are at risk globally. On the other hand, if we evaluate the case from Indian perspective, firstly, it would be better to give general information or general picture of the current situation of Indian tourism. India is the birthplace of the four main religions, and India having total 38 World Heritage Sites. India attracts tourists from all over the world. India's foreign tourist arrival is also increasing. Indian tourism industry, which offers national and international accommodation and restaurant options to the tourists, acts as a milestone in the world tourism sector. Meditation, yoga, adventure tourism are also the emerging trends under tourism industry, as Indian Vedas contains many philosophies for yoga and meditation, and foreigners across the world find India as suitable touristic places for yoga and meditation. India has north, east, west, and south parts for tourism, including tourism types such as gastronomy, wildlife, medical, pilgrimage, eco, cultural, wellness, golf, film. Indian tourism industry has been developing and empowering itself recently thanks to the Indian Ministry of Tourism. Now, the tourism sector is in the third month of complete shutdown, entire country lockdowns, border closures, travel restrictions, suspensions of almost all passengers' flights, closed hotels and restaurants have resulted in an unprecedented crisis in the sector. One of the hardest hit professions in the tourism is tour guides. Tour guides are particularly vulnerable not only because of the seasonality of their profession, but also the majority of guides are self-employed, single-person businesses, and as such find it more difficult to access government funding and support. According to the World Travel and Tourism Council, some 50 million jobs in travel and tourism may be at risk due to the pandemic, with museums, monuments, attractions closed and government tour guides are particularly vulnerable not only because of the seasonality of their profession, but also the majority of guides are self-employed, single-person businesses, and as such find it more difficult to access government funding and support. According to the World Travel and Tourism Council, some 50 million jobs are in travel and tourism may be at risk to the pandemic, with museums, monuments, and attractions closed and governmental restrictions placed on travel across the globe. Tour guides are likely to one major casualty of this sharp and sudden industry downturn. Most tour guides, as you know, are freelance, hourly workers whose livelihoods depend not only on regularly work, but also on tips from appreciative tourists. They are unlikely to have paid sick leave, unemployment insurance, or any other benefits enjoyed by many salaried workers. Moreover, many tour guides cancel their bookings. In addition to guides, other workers who rely heavily on the tourism industry for their livelihoods, such as tour drivers and tour personals, etc., are also in difficult positions. Many trips, such as study tours and business trips, have also been cancelled following the government instructions to limit travel, movement, and events. Tour guides are at the forefront situation as they deal with a high volume of visitors from all over the world. They are also particularly vulnerable to the tourist market fluctuations, and cancellations are expected to affect income. We understand that tour guides are very anxious about their health, their clients' health, and the impact of the virus on their livelihood. During the period of time, there has been conducting some research on tour guides' ideas after COVID-19 process. One of them conducted by the European Federation of Tour Guide Associations. FEG surveyed the membership associations on the impact of last 3 months in income, working hour lost, compensation received, and the job loss of tour guides between May and June. Travel and tourism in Europe has been severely affected by the coronavirus crisis. National governments are taking measures to re-establish transportation links, slowly start to lift travel restrictions, and resume tourism activities. While these measures are implemented, it is still important to look at the impact of the crisis has had on incomes and the extent of lost trade activities. The European Federation of Tourist Guide Associations gathered information from its membership, 28 countries, to measure the level of lost trade activities and the financial relief tour guides have received. According to this figure, we see that tour guides have reported a 94% drop in trade activities for May, and also 84% for June. The difference in the percentage is due to some countries relaxing lockdown restrictions earlier than others, or having different regulations regarding guided tours. Breaking these figures down to monthly support, 82% of guides received some compensation for loss for March. This figure drops to 71% for April, and only 37% of guides reported financial support for May. The number dropped further in June, with only 15% of guides reporting that they were expecting financial support. This is in contradiction to the almost total cancellation of guiding activities for the month and resulting loss of income. That's to say, even in the government's performed quite effective struggle to keep the tour guide stand, all these efforts remain insufficient. Another figure is related with COVID-19 and financial implications for tour guides in Europe. According to this table, tour guides are professionals who have been working for many years in tourism, with 23% of survey participants reporting that they have been active for at least 10 years. This points to a permanent, highly skilled workforce, low employment turnover, an almost unique situation in the tourism industry. The vast majority of guides depend on guiding to provide their income, with 83% of survey participants having no other financial source. As a profession, tour guides are mostly single business professionals. According to the FEG, it is much more difficult for guides to have access to government funding and support. The losses account only for pre-booked tours and engagement. There is no accurate way for estimating a potential number of last-minute and individual bookings. There has been no substantial change in the percentage of rebookings for cancelled April tours later in the year. These figures paint a very bleak picture of the impact of the COVID-19 outbreak for the tour guides' financial survival. The lack of significant number of rebookings for cancelled tours, the loss of the income at the start of the tourist season, the continuing uncertainty of workable guidelines for traveling are critical factors that need to be addressed, as their impact will continue in the months to come. There are 4 possible scenarios, range from optimistic to pessimistic. The first and most optimistic one is scenario for low incidence. In this scenario, the control of the pandemic is achieved and the economic measures taken by the countries begin to show results. The economies of the main sending countries are activated at the touristic places. Tourist sense of security is high. The impact on the tourism industry is low. And the scenario second, medium impact. Control of the pandemic is lagging. Economic measures taken by the countries are stagnating, despite the efforts is being made. The economies of the major sending countries are lagging. Impact on tourism industry is average, thanks to the public aid and a situation of paralysis of expenditure, activities begin. And the scenario third, high incidence, the control of the pandemic is not bearing fruit so far and coincides with the inability of governments to activate the local economy. The activation of the economies of the main sending countries to the touristic places is delayed. Tourist sense of security about the touristic places is very low. The impact on the tourism industry is very high. Many of the tourism and commercial actors haven't withstood the economic pressure have disappeared. And the last, maybe the worst scenario, fourth, acute incidents, the control of the pandemic at a global regional level has not been successful so far, and after significant social unrest and pressure on governments, the economy is in serious situation due to the total lack of results so far. The inability of governments to activate the local economy is highlighted. The economies of the main sending country destination do not consider it safe. Tourist sense of security has been very low so far. The impact on the tourism industry is very high, and only a small group of companies have resisted and which are in a very precarious situation. In order to cope with this pandemic period with less damage, tour guides should use government websites as main source when replying to client questions, and they shouldn't dismiss or scaremonger. It's crucial to keep health of ours and others. Surely, cancellation requests are possible. At this point, as tour guides, what we should do is to make clear all results and compensation at the beginning. It is important that we also survive as professionals. It is inevitable that freelance working may offer you extra incomes. However, working closely with tour operator is more trustful. You should be reasonable in your expectations. Try to keep humanism and don't discriminate against certain nationalities. So as to overcome this pandemic, we don't need panic at all. And these suggestions can be taken as the precautions regarding the government. Firstly, fees for tour guides license may be removed or decreased for 1 year at least. The ministries can provide funds to tour guides for 1 year at least and support the salaries of employees partly. The government and private stakeholders may very subtly publicize this newly acquired credibility for promoting our tourism sector. Governments may allocate sufficient funds for organizing roadshows and other promotional activities in prospective markets. And now, I want to make some recovery plans and some issues, some trends for the new normal. What can we do as a tour guide and tour operator for survive from this COVID-19 process? Firstly, maybe home seminars instead of tours and virtual tours with guides. As the COVID-19 outbreak continues to cause challenges to the global tourism industry, it is time to think creatively about new and innovative ways of working to bring in revenue for tour activity and operators. Live virtual tours, while may not work for everyone, during consider a live virtual tour a new product opportunity. Show off your experience virtually to people who may have planned to travel but may be isolated. People will be looking for online content to consume over this period. So you might pick up new audiences who in future years may be physical guests. If you or your guides are in position to still guide people through your experience, why a live video seize the opportunity. And the second, some tour companies have discussed plans to launch or expand online travel magazines and podcasts. As an example, the director of one of the leading tour operators, Christian Motors, states that COVID-19 has resulted in countless setbacks, both to the travel industry and to the world at large. And also, he underlines that this obviously an uncertain time right now, and that stuff with his team all working remotely from home, the group has created Slack channels dedicated to virus question and supports 24 hours and 7 days. Live video meetings, so team members can interact with each other for mutual support. Hanging around the travel industry through pandemics, the financial crisis, and other setbacks, Walter is confident that travel will eventually bounce back. Finally, he says, these are the times when people can get creative and do right by their customers. To conclude, for this time, it's really important to be together for our health. Since the group tours have decreased by 80% and the number of people in groups dropped by half, personalized tours may be popular. To identify briefly, personalized tour is based on the needs and requests of the tourist. According to the tourist demands, tours and required equipments are organized, such as special vehicle and driver, disposable products, and skilled tour guides. As an example, if tourists wish to be intertwined with nature, an eco tour is designed. That's why personalized tour will shine. Tourism destination after COVID-19 will take a different course. Visiting popular places that may tourists visit will be greatly reduced. Instead, unprecedented and little known touristic places that can hold will come to the fore. Also, destinations where nature tourism can be realized will be defined as unique places. It is thought that especially nature-based tourism will develop outside the crowded tourist areas of India. Guides should prepare the unknown touristic places with less people, but more relaxing and more peaceful. Tour based on special interest tourism like ecotourism, gastronomy, golf, yachts, diving, culture, bird watching, caravans, villages, tents, caves, and other alternative tourism types rather than sea, sand, and sun tourism will be preferred. So, expert tour guides, for example, gastronomy tour guides, eco tour guides, museum tour guides, or city tour guides in some areas will be more preferable. Companies called incoming agencies, which will accommodate foreign tourists, will turn their targets to our immediate neighbors. Local tourism involves residents traveling within the country. An example of the local tourism would be, for example, South Indians visiting the Taj Mahal or Chinese visiting the Great Wall. Since local tourists don't cross any other borders, they don't need visa or passports. Neither do they need to convert their money into a different currency. Many people visit different parts of their country during holidays. Domestic tourism has greater scope in countries of large dimensions such as India and the US as compared to smaller countries. The duration of tours may also vary, but domestic tourists may only spend 1 or few days on tour. Tourism may look inwards. Thankfully, traditional domestic travels have remained largely inert to the virus. So much of the honeymoon and holiday traffic may stay within India. VIP tours are offered per special request. VIP tours are personalized and usually have a very limited number of guests according to expectations and requests of this group. The tours are very luxury and comfortable. Directory has expected in information and hardware. If the guests want to have information about archaeology, art history, nature, local culture, city tourism, which are the many important things, families and youngsters are likely to prefer more of drive-outs, especially on long weekends and for short vacations. So, near city travel is likely to see an uptick. The lockdown and the prolonged stay indoors has helped most people introspect. So, maybe I think one of the main important tourism activities in India also cycling, sailing, walking tours, hiking, fishing, and lots of the simple pleasures may surface as reasons to holiday differently. Health farms, spas, nature villages, agritourism activities, and etc. are newer opportunities for those in travel businesses. Airlines and hotels are likely to be more accommodating on postponements, cancellations, early check-ins, late checkouts, especially for loyalty customers. So, upgrades, extras, free buys would be welcome surprise at many places that had forgotten the true meaning of hospitality. In today's tech-oriented world, using social media to promote your tours goes a long way, especially when you know that your competition is devoting all the energy and resources on social media marketing, publishing new content, making new videos, content creating, and etc. Social networks know that users value an informative, engaging, and visually stimulating experience. Status updates that show you are active in your community, combined with visuals that create a feel for your brand, complement each other. They give people an idea of what you are all about. Since your business is a tour or activity, there is an opportunity to be more visual than many other businesses. Take advantage of it. And in all good, nature and wildlife will be preferred over monuments and history in the months ahead. So, the hills, the sea resorts, wildlife reserves, and slightly isolated locations will win over crowded favorites of yore. If tourists opt for destinations in nature, this is not will be surprising, as this form of tourism will allow them to put together social distancing and discovery and contact with nature, which in recent weeks many travelers have been unable to benefit from. And if I want to make a roadmap for Indian scenario, as I know, maybe we can put to first tour safety. It is so important, and we should be careful, for both perception and reality will matter. And the second, health checks before tour. All governments in the world may introduce mandatory checks to health and hygiene. And the third, hygiene during the tour. All tour operators, tour guides, and tourism managements be careful for this. There shouldn't be no compromise on this. And the fourth, branded tour guides and branded tourism operators. Those that will stand for quality will win. And the last one, tour operators with high quality. Tour package with high standards for good money will be the new mantra. And thanks for your attention.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Dr. Gul. And that is such a wonderful insights and knowledgeable too for during that present pandemic time. I'm requesting you please stop sharing your presentation so that we will proceed to the next part of this lecture. After the lecture from Dr. Gul, now I'll share the slides of the questions, but the questions are so many and it is not possible to address all the questions over there. So we will shortlist the first 10 questions and today's expert, Dr. Gul, will address one by one. So I'm sharing the screen where we'll see the questions one by one.
Okay.
I hope it's visible now.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yes, yes. So this is the first question. How should we do destination marketing in India after these pandemic days, ensuring that all the safety and hygiene standards of both the locals and the tourists? Please share your insights on this question by Raj Kishore Mishra. Over to you, Dr. Gul.
As I think, and firstly, thanks for this valuable question to Misra. During this period, all hygiene rules are very important. For example, social distancing, mask and gloves, and other precautionary requirements or social using mask, gloves is really vital. And I think if we be careful to this subject, we can succeed to this process.
Okay, now let's move to the next question. Question number 2. So it's what message or piece of advice would you like to give to the budding tour guides, which would prove to be helpful when we restart tourism? Question by Gauri Shinde. Over to you.
What message? Maybe if we want to start tourism in this process as tour guides, we can be more helpful, we can be more patient, and we can more welcomed to our potential tourists because this season is very hard for all of us. And it wouldn't be everything good, and it wouldn't be everything okay for many stakeholders. So as a tour guide, we can more patient, we can more reliable, we can more trustful to our clients. Thanks.
Okay, next move to the question number 3. What could be the challenges for tour guides during this pandemic situation? I think we already talked a lot about that, but Dr. Gul, if you want to say a few more words, over to you.
Yes. Thanks for question to Mr. Bas. This can be divided into 2 parts. First one is health and the second is economical. Tour guides should take care themselves for their health, and also they should think their financial solutions to survive. Maybe. Thanks, Dobra.
Okay, let's move to the next question. Question number 4. So, which foreign language should an inbound tour guide learn rather than English? By Shiva Ahrao. I think it's a broad question. Anyways, over to you.
Yes, thanks, Mr. Shiva Auro, for your kind question. The tour guides should learn mostly speaking languages like English or Chinese or Spanish, etc. But I think Indian language is many popular around the world. I think according to the country where a tour guide works, any local language is even important to communicate, but English is still more important language in also for domestic tourism or outbound tourism. That's all.
Okay, let's move to the next question. Professionalism is important for tour guides. Should they also add a personal touch so that the trip will become the memorable? If yes, how? So that's a question from Vinaya Mahadevan, and she is the student of IITTM BBA. Over to you, Dr. Gul.
Yes. I agree, professionalism is very important for tour guides, and one of the most important ways to become a professional is having a high degree, university degree, a license degree. For example, if you have a license degree from IITM, maybe one of the most important professionalism ways. Yes, also maybe this is hard question. I have trips, many trips in Turkey, and they are important personal touch with me. Maybe one of them is the Ministry of Tourism, tourism leaders. I had tour guides in Şanlıurfa, maybe you know. When I was Şanlıurfa, I have a groups. One of them is a person working in a good position in the Ministry of Tourism, and they helped so much to my professionalism. Thanks.
Okay, now move to the next question. Question number 6. Policies framed by government and local authority in current COVID-19 scenario and for future travel aid would be advantageous for tour guides or may exploit the business for even more. I think we have to go through all the policies and the government. This is a question from one of our IITTM alumni, Mr. Anshay Singh. Over to you, Dr. Gul. You can even share what kind of policies or strategies maybe Turkish government has already implemented during this COVID-19 so that we Indian stakeholders can also have an important insight from that. Over to you.
Okay, thanks, Dr. Dogra. It is so important for all of countries, policies and policy makings, and we should be careful as governments and policy makers to make right planning and strategies and policies during this time. Maybe it could be advantage for tour guides, but we should or it should be continuous situation, and we should control the policies is successful or not. It is so important for us that maybe policies couldn't be successful. And if we can evaluate the situation during COVID-19, the policies and planning is very useful for all communities. It can be useful for many communities. That's all, maybe.
Okay, let's move to the next question. Question number 7. What is the situation after being a tour guide in this pandemic situation? Is this a good decision to a tour guide? I mean, to be a tour guide, I think this is what the Mr. Ashfaq Ahmed wants to ask. Over to you, Dr. Gul.
Thanks, Dogra. I think being a tour guide is very happier jobs in the world. I love my jobs, and I am also a lecturer in the Sinop University for 5 years, and I have many students wishing a tour guide in future. Maybe it is this is a passion, and this is so important things in our lives. So I think this time is permanent, and maybe after 1 year later or approximately 2 years later, everything will be okay, and all tour guides will do their jobs effectively. So this is a very good decision for all students to be a tour guide in this pandemic situation, because all things will be passed. Thanks.
Thank you. The next question, I'm just repeating, we are taking only 10 questions. So this is the question number 8. What should be the role of tour guides as to ensure the safety of the tourist in post-COVID-19 tourism holiday operations? Question by Raiz Ahmed Mir. Over to you.
Yes, I think this is a complete system to control tour operators and tourism leaders and policymakers to the successful management of COVID-19 process. So, tour guide is a partly member of this process, but there has many importance in this situation. For example, if we get toured during this process, we can control the mask and gloves and the hygiene control from the tour operators, or for example, touristic place. And also, I want to say that we are controllers in this process. Thanks, that's all.
Thank you. Next move to the second last question. This question number 9. In this pandemic hit situation where social distancing is on the top priority as a necessity measures, how is the GIT going to sustain its group inclusive tours and all? That's asking by Mr. Mahendra Groom. Over to you.
Yes. Sorry, I want to have a 1 minute.
He's talking about,
sorry.
He's talking about the group tours and all that, like when we are taking group tours like more than 10 people, how can we ensure that social distancing over there when we have to do the tour guiding and all? Over to you.
Yes, as far as I am concerned, and as far as I remember from my tours, all tour groups listen to tour guides, what he or she says and what he or she should or shouldn't do that. So all group members can listen to tour guides. If a tour guides, if I say that, for example, in my groups, you shouldn't do more close to your other group members, maybe. All group members can listen to my say, because it can be possible precautions for tour guides. Social distancing is be good for all tours. Thanks, that's all.
Next, let's move to the last question of today's lecture. That is, what all the working provisions, licensing and training scenarios for tour guides in Turkey, and also let us know about linguistic guide, mainly Hindi in Turkey. So that's a question by one of our faculty, Dr. Amit Tiwari. Over to you, Dr.
Yes. In Turkey, being guide is not easy. There are some ways and there are some exams for being a tour guide. Firstly, we should have education for license 4 years or 2 years, and after completed our university degree, we should get an exam for foreign languages, as you know, for example, English, Chinese, Hindi, and etc. And after that, you should have some national trips over the Turkey and some touristic and historical places over the Turkey. And after completed this, you can get professional tour guide licensing. And every year, our license cards will renew by getting very low paid to Ministry of Tourism. And after, we can continue to our jobs. And also, I can say that India is so important culture and it's so important places in the world. Many Indian tourists come to our Turkey, and also the languages of Indian is also important in our Turkey. That's all.
Thank you so much. So with that, we'll over with the question answer session now. And thanks again, Dr. Gül, for addressing one question and for your patience and the deliberations you have done over there. So as I just want to inform to everyone, as Dr. Gül Erkol Bayram is having the same reputation in Turkey as a tour guides and as an academician. So in India, in IITTM, we are having the same reputed person over here. His name is Dr. Chandrasekhar Barua, and he's working as assistant professor is there, and he's also the chairperson MBA and active tour guide is already doing the tour guiding from the last so many years and have done all the VVIP movements over there in India. So we are so blessed and we are so honored to have Dr. C.S. Barua over there. He's the chairperson of MBA program and also the coordinator IITFC program that is already shared, that Ministry of Tourism, Government of India is just to involve all the people and make a new, you can say the second leg of tour guides in India. So IITFC has initiated by our Honorable Tourism Minister, and IITTM under the leadership of Director IITTM is doing that IITFC project. Now I'm inviting Dr. Chandrasekhar Barua, sir, to please give the formal vote of thanks. Over to you, sir.
Thank you very much, Dr. Jeet Dograji, coordinator. Thank you very much, Dr. Jeet Dograji, coordinator, International Web Lecture Series. Myself, as he already introduced, Dr. Chandrasekhar Barua. I'm very happy to acknowledge all of you, your presence, especially Sri Raghavendra Singh ji, Sri Shashi Ranjan ji, senior most officers of our Government of India, working for state government, and today's chief speaker, Dr. Gül Erkol Bayram from the Sinop University, Turkey. She took a very brief lecture today on the prospects of tour guiding, not in India, not only in Turkey and worldwide, because tourism industry is very speedily growing in every country. It is a temporary problem for the COVID-19, and people, those who are working, they are male and female as a tour guide. As madam already being a female working as a tour guide, I'm happy to share in India also many young and middle-aged women, they are working very successfully, and they are sharing their knowledge, their talent about the country's history, country's civilization, country's way of life, and they are very good storytellers. They talk about Indian culture, Indian cuisine, many more things, I mean. So you understand, tourism has many, aspects. So people, those who are today joined this session, if you want to become a tour guide, please develop good communication skills, develop your confidence, read as much as possible Indian history and culture. So there is no age for become a tour guide. For your knowledge, if you are 18 plus, you can enroll yourself, you can contact in future to this institute. And again, thank you very much to all of you. A special thanks to our director, Professor Alok Sharma sir, who took an initiative and give a very big responsibility to Dr. G. Dogra to license 10 very important international web lecture series to 10 Saturdays. to the people of India. Anyone can join. There is no charges. And all these till so far are very, very interesting, because being as one of the faculty of this institute, I'm getting very positive remark from the number of people, and they are keeping themselves very immediately ready to join. They are waiting for the time of 1:30, like some people, they are waiting for a special TV serial or movies. So this has also become very popular in our country in India. So again, my special thanks to Dr. Gül, who joined, and I want to invite you on behalf of IITTM, whenever you are in India, please visit Gwalior. We are only 120 kilometers from Taj Mahal. Thank you so much, and looking forward to see you again. Now I want to hand over next to my colleague, Dr. G. Dogra, for the next.
Thank you, Dr. Chandrasekhar Barua, sir, for your vote of thanks. And now, for the information of all the participants, our next lecture is on the next Saturday, and that lecture will be taken by Dr. Wahid Gasmi from University of Portugal. And I'm seeing him right now on my screen, although he was shy enough and he's saying that, "Arey, come on, I'm not looking nice." So it's not all about nice, it's the intellect that matters. So now I'm inviting Dr. Wahid Gaisami to please introduce yourself and say a few words, just a 2 minutes interaction about your lecture. Over to you, Dr. Wahid. Please unmute yourself first.
Hello, good day, everybody. Thank you so much, Dr. Gül Dogra, for inviting. It was a pleasure to be with you all, and I would like to take this opportunity to thank Professor Gül for the very useful and valuable insights for the tour guides, and that was very interesting to listen. It is also a pleasure to listen to the Indian experts in this panel, in this webinar. That would be an honor. Next week I will speak about the destination marketing during and after COVID-19, and I will give you some insights for the India. I hope that this would be useful for the community, and I hope to see you next Saturday. I will be with you. Thank you so much. Thank you, Dr. Jit, and happy to be with you.
Thank you, Dr. Wahid. Now I'm requesting to all the participants, please switch on your videos, because we have to take few clicks also. That is important for the media and for our own records also. I'm seeing a lot of my international friends over there. Najuka ma'am is there. Evrik Seldak is there. So thank you everyone. Please switch on your these videos. Thank you. So we'll take the few photographs also. Even Mr. Ali Thuran is also there. I'm seeing that. Welcome, sir. And our nodal officers are also there. IITTM nodal officer from Bhubaneswar is also, I'm seeing there. Hello, sir. Thank you everyone. So with these kind words, this is the time that we have to see off and sign off. And for your information, next Saturday, Dr. Wahid from University of Portugal will take lecture on destination marketing, and he just informed us about that, and we are looking forward for your active participation because of your support. So we'll be able to, you can say, explore and accumulate all the knowledge that we have addresses over there. And see you from on the behalf of IITTM. Just signing off, and namaste from India.